In Tragedy, a true crime podcast, we discuss missing persons cases, violent crime, and other sensitive topics that may be difficult for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Our show is a place where every story matters and every voice deserves to be heard. To support this podcast, you can subscribe at www.tragedyaTrueCrimePodcast.com for early access to new episodes. And join our Facebook community, Tragedy, a True Crime Podcast, for updates, discussions, and ways to support the families we feature.
Before we continue our story regarding LaTonya Thomas, we have a few updates that need to be shared regarding Haley Athey.
On April 14th, 2026, on the Bring Haley homepage, this message was posted. First, we would like to thank everyone on this page for your messages, prayers, and information. With heavy hearts, we can confirm that we have accomplished our mission and Haley has been returned home. Our mission now will be to seek answers and accountability for those involved with her passing.
I also understand that there was a press release that was put out there as well. Can you talk about that?
Yes, this was just put out today on April 15th, 2026. It reads, on April 12th, 2026, Cowlitz County residents were hiking on Weyerhaeuser property near Rose Valley Road and the 1600 line. During their hike, they came across clothing and 2 bones. They notified authorities, and a photo of the bones was sent to a forensic anthropologist who identified the bones as human. Detectives from the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office attempted to reach the remains that night, but due to the location and the late hour, they could not. On April 13th, Detective James Hanberry coordinated a search with the Cowlitz County Coroner's Office and Cowlitz County Search and Rescue. One of the men who had found the remains led the search party to the area. Nearly complete skeletal remains were located, as well as multiple items of clothing and personal belongings. This location was in the middle of an area that Detective Hanberry had identified through diligent investigation and interviews as an area of interest in the disappearance of Haley Athey. Prior searches had been conducted near this area, but no evidence had been recovered. The remains were turned over to the Cowlitz County Coroner's Office, and an analysis by a forensic anthropologist will be completed to determine the cause of death. A forensic odontologist examined the recovered skull and compared the teeth to dental records for Haley. The odontologist was able to make a positive comparison and identify the remains as those of Haley Athey. The exact location will not be released at this time, as this investigation remains an active investigation pending cause and manner of death. And this is signed by Undersheriff Troy Brightbill from the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office.
All right, well, obviously Rose Valley is familiar to us because we've talked about Rose Valley quite a bit. And isn't that the area that they went, allegedly went mushroom picking that day when she disappeared?
Yes, everyone that we spoke to when we were covering Haley's story did discuss that Rose Valley area as the last place that she was known to be seen.
All right. Well, bottom line, we're happy that she's home, and we just wish it was in better circumstances.
For those of you who are looking for ways that you can help Haley's family, we did link a GoFundMe on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook, Tragedy, a True Crime Podcast, and all those funds will go to her memorial service. And we're not done here. Obviously, Haley has been brought home, but now we are going to move into a different phase for Haley, and we are going to work with this family to support them as they seek justice for Haley. The case we are discussing today, the death of LaTonya Thomas, is a closed case. The conclusions reached by law enforcement remain in place, and nothing in this episode is intended to challenge or override those official findings. Our discussion is based on a limited set of information, including documents obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests and interviews with individuals who knew LaTonya personally. As with any case built from partial records and personal accounts, there may be gaps, inconsistencies, or perspectives that are not fully represented. We want to be clear. We are not making accusations against any individual or entity. Our goal is to share information, highlight perspectives, and give voice to those impacted, not to assign blame or determine guilt. All content presented in this episode should be considered informational and for discussion purposes only. Listeners are encouraged to review available public records and form their own conclusions. As always, we approach this case and every case with respect for those involved and the understanding that real lives are impacted by these stories. Welcome to Tragedy, a true crime podcast. I'm Elisa.
And I'm Michael.
Today we're talking about the loss of LaTonya Thomas, a loss that was sudden, devastating, and left a lasting impact on the people who loved her. While the circumstances surrounding her death are difficult, at the heart of this story is a woman who mattered deeply to so many. LaTonya was more than what happened to her. She was a friend, a daughter, and someone whose presence is still felt by those closest to her. Today, we're joined by her friend, Crystal Newkirk, who is here to help us remember LaTonya for who she truly was, beyond the tragedy. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you. We would like to start off by just learning a little bit about you. So tell us a little bit about you, Crystal.
I live in Sock Choppy, Florida. My whole life, I was born there. I fish, fish worms, and went to Wakulla High School, and just been with my family.
Thank you for sharing. I'm learning that people around here are very much into fishing, as is Michael.
Of course we are.
Yes, this is something that I'm learning, that when you live here, you go fishing. And so I've learned to fish, which is great.
That's all I did all my life with my family. You know, we used to own a seafood market there on PA Sanders Road.
Tell us about your relationship to LaTonya.
Okay, I went to school with LaTonya. We called her Toot. And I went to elementary through high school. We graduated together. Me and her, when we graduated, we never split up at all. You seen her, you seen me. It's either way, we was there together. And I let her meet my husband's net uncle, and she decided to move in with him. And from that day on, that's my last time when I seen her.
Share with us one of your fondest memories of the time that you spent with LaTonya.
Well, me and her, we did school together. We had fun. We had our first child together. I had a son and she had a daughter. Me and her, we co-parent with our children. You know, we was young. We had kids. But me and her, we did sports in school, you know. Me and her, we did party together. We did all kind of things, like friends. We was like sisters more than anything.
And what do you want people to know about LaTonya?
Well, LaTonya was a sweet girl. She was a happy girl. She helped anybody. She did. She would give her shirt off their back. You know, she would help anybody. You know, and she never bothered nobody at all. She was a quiet person. The only thing we can remember with LaTonya, you know, we were sitting at the picnic table. We played cards together, and we was on Allen Street in Sock Choppy.
So let's talk a little bit about LaTonya and her death. And I believe you were very involved in getting LaTonya to the hospital. Am I right about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like for you that day and what you remember?
Okay, only thing I remember, I got a phone call from her mama.
You take as much time as you need.
Her mom called me because she was supposed to go to the crab house. Well, we went. Her brother went to the trailer. Well, when we got there to the trailer, her brother busted the door down, and he busted the door down and found her butt ass naked. Her leg was up under the chair. But when the night before all this happened, I went and picked her up because she called me and asked me to come get her because her and Ben was arguing, and I picked her up off the bike trail, right there on Surf Road. Well, I took her there to pick up her wallet from his house. She never came back out, and I just left. The guy that was with me, he's deceased now. He told me, he said, "Don't get involved with this. Don't get involved with this, Crystal, because she's going to go back." Well, when I finally talked to her and I told her, I said, "You need to come home." You know, they would never let her leave. That's all I remember, that her mom and her brother called me because they found her butt naked.
And so it sounds like the relationship that she had with, was she living with him in this trailer? And were you there frequently, or did she live somewhere else?
Well, she was living with him there.
Okay.
Yeah, she was living with him because she moved out of my house and moved in with him. And I told her, I said, "You making a bad idea," because I told him he couldn't stay at my house because him and her just constantly argued, and I wasn't going to have that around my children. But that's the last time I talked to her, when I dropped her off.
And so you saw evidence of, we'll call it an unhealthy relationship, and warned her, right, that this was something that she probably shouldn't do.
Yes,
Yes,
I did.
Okay. And then when you got the phone call from LaTonya's mom, did you go straight to the hospital? Did you go over to the trailer?
No, I went straight to the hospital where LaTonya was, and that didn't look like her. And I stand beside her the whole time, and like, I was begging her to come back alive. I was begging her. And after that, the sheriff's department picked me up.
And then they did an interview with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that interview. You just told us exactly what you remember that day, and I would imagine that you said the same thing to them. And what was their reaction when you told them what you had observed?
They told me they was going to do some investigation, that whenever they need me or ask more any questions, they will let me know. Well, after all that, I haven't heard back from nobody. I didn't spoke with nobody. I even asked LaTonya's mom, has she found out about anything? Because I was married in the family, in that dude's family, you know, and that there caused my marriage to my husband. Yeah, I got a son by that family, you know, but I do protect my son. My son don't go around them.
Mm-hmm.
But they alcoholic. The guys is, they are drunk. They do drugs. You know, and what I heard to somebody else, but I heard there was 2 more guys there when it happened. But I don't know how true it is. The law didn't investigate. I don't know.
Tell us what you heard about what happened to her from the time that you left her that day, and then her mom found her.
Her mom called me and told me that they found her unconscious. And I didn't know what to think. But the dude that she was with, they said he was at the hospital too. And how that puzzle went, it didn't add up right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel, and that's how I put it.
Mm-hmm. I was able to get some documentation from the sheriff's office, and quite a bit of it is what was happening at the hospital. And it's my understanding that it was a strangulation that then caused a blood clot, and then that blood clot in her throat caused a stroke. And then that is ultimately what caused her death. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay. That does line up with what I was able to read. It's, I was about to say, it's unfortunate, but I'm going to use a different word. I think it's, I don't know the right word. It's tragic that this isn't a name that is known to us, and we live here in Wakulla County. And
that's right.
It does when I found out about LaTonya, I was a little bit surprised because we've always been under the assumption that Jody Kilgore is the only unsolved homicide in Wakulla County. And people nod their heads and say, yes, that's true. And then I learn about LaTonya, and I learn that there is documentation of a strangulation that caused a blood clot, that caused a stroke, that caused her death. And I'm like, that means that this Jody Kilgore is not the only unsolved homicide in Wakulla County, because no one has ever been arrested for LaTonya's homicide, correct?
No.
So this was sort of, I'm still struggling with the right word, but this was very eye-opening to me. And in a sense, I kind of felt like I was like the wool was pulled over my eyes, because we've had several conversations with people across the county and with law enforcement, and no one's ever said her name. And so we are here to make sure that people say her name, and everyone in the county knows that LaTonya Thomas is the victim of an unsolved homicide in Wakulla County.
Yeah, it's just like they never, me or Thomasine or Pam, we ain't heard back from nobody. They ain't told us nothing.
Tell us a little bit about the impact that LaTonya's death has had on you.
Well, I take it strong. It hurts. I miss my friend every day. You know, I can't make friends with other people. And all I got is my children. You know, after I lost LaTonya, I lost my friend Vicky. You know, all three of us stuck together. All three of us. And I lost my both best friends. And I don't have nobody but my children. Then after I lost them, I lost my mother. You know, I lost my son from a murder case from Jeff Duggar. A homicide. I know y'all ain't heard about that, did y'all?
No, that's not one I'm familiar with either.
Huh?
No, I have not heard of that.
Well, yeah, from Wakulla County, yeah.
This is very eye-opening in a really sad way. And we're just really grateful that you have come forward and that you're sharing this information with us. And is there anything that we did not give you an opportunity to speak about, or something that you'd like to say that we didn't specifically ask you about?
No.
I do have a follow-up question. It seems clear to me that you have a hope that the sheriff's office will do more than they're doing. What would you like from the community now that we are making sure that people are aware of LaTonya and they have a little bit of information about what has happened? What would you like to have from the Wakulla County community?
I heard the county will find out what really happened. What happened, whoever really done this to her. Because it's pretty bad that I heard it wasn't just one person, it was three guys, and I think them three guys need to be in prison.
You've been listening to Tragedy, a true crime podcast. Our purpose is to honor victims by sharing their stories through the voices of friends, family, and those whose lives were forever changed. If today's episode resonated with you, we encourage you to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast so these important stories continue to be heard. Together, we can preserve their memories and ensure their voices are never forgotten. If you have ideas for cases we should cover or questions about what you heard, you can connect with us through our Facebook group, Tragedy, a True Crime Podcast, on X @Tragedy Podcast, by email at tragedyaTrueCrimePodcast@gmail.com, or by visiting our website, www.tragedyaTrueCrimePodcast.com. Thank you for listening, and we hope you'll join us next time.